focus of this lesson will be to examine the use of the Sketch Picture tool in SOLIDWORKS. For this exercise, I'm going to be modelling a child's jewellery box based on the Hello Kitty theme. The Sketch Picture tool was available in previous versions of SOLIDWORKS, but we're going to examine it in this case for the use of intricate outlines of everyday objects. During the exercise, I'm going to also look at the Save As, Copy and Open option in SOLIDWORKS, which has been a new addition. And I'm also going to look at the hinge mate when we mate the top and the base of the box together. To begin, what we need to do first is save our part. So I'm going to save this part as box base. This will become important later on. Following this, the box has the Hello Kitty outline, so we're going to need to get the Hello Kitty logo. So I'll do a Google image search for Hello Kitty. And it will throw up numerous Hello Kitty images. Now, be careful when you're selecting the Google images. If you hover over the image, you will notice down on the bottom left-hand corner it will give you a size. So it is always better to keep on the larger size for an image, because it might pixelate when you bring it into SOLIDWORKS and resize it. So in this case here, this image will do. I just want the face outline. So saving this image here, right click, Save As. And I'm going to save that into the same folder I have created there on the desktop. Now, it is important that that image is kept in the same folder as the parts of the jewellery box. Going back to SOLIDWORKS, I'll now import my image, and I'm going to import it onto the top plane. So I'll have to create a sketch on the top plane, which is going to be the body of the jewellery box. So I'll create a sketch on the top plane. And to find Sketch Picture, may not have been apparent previously, you go to Tools, Sketch Tools, and down the bottom of Sketch Tools we have the option Sketch Picture, which we can import a picture now and we can sketch around it. It will navigate automatically to the folder where you have your part saved. So in that folder at the minute I have my Hello Kitty logo. Any other images that may be in the logo will appear here. And I'll hit Open. Now, in this case, the image, as we've seen there, was quite large. So I need to resize it down to the width I want. In this case, it has blackened that outline, so I'm going to go from the file to give me the image as I had previously. And what is new this time is we have the scaling line. This is new to SOLIDWORKS, from SOLIDWORKS 2014 onwards, the scaling line. So previously we would have to have toggled these handles here and resize that image sort of randomly and get measurements. But in this case, the scaling line now here, we can manipulate the scaling line to whatever size we want there, or whatever position, and size it. So in this case, I'm going to scale it just across the face here. So I'm going to hover onto the middle of the face. So you move one side of the scaling line, you transfer it across to the other side, and then it is going to throw up, well, what measurement do you want this image at this stage? So I want the width of this image here to be 150 mm. Nice small jewellery box. Hit Enter. Now it appears to disappear, but what has happened, if I hit F, it is just moved up the page there. I can bring it back down to the origin. So now I have an image of a width 150, which I can now draw around. So I'll accept that. Now, what I want in this case is to draw around the outside of this image. So I'm going to use the spline tool. Now, clicking down here beside spline tool, I see I have the style spline, or I can go the ordinary spline. In this case, I'm going to go with the normal spline that was previously available in the older versions of SolidWorks. So I'll pick spline. Now, our spline here will not create these corners. If I go all the way around the full thing, it's going to round off each of these corners here. So I'm going to have to create multiple splines around the face. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the bottom half of the face first. I'm going to ignore his whiskers, or her whiskers. So clicking around the image here, keeping this nice and even. The closer I keep these together, the more even the curve. I want enough points that will give me an accurate representation, especially around these tighter corners. Then I'll right click and select. There's the bottom half of the face complete. I will take my spline again. I'm going to complete this ear now. I'll have to be careful here at the top of the ear, keeping the points closer together to get around this ear there, the tighter corner. Right click and select then to complete it. I can always go back and manipulate the points slightly there if I'm not happy with any particular curve. Following on with the rest of it. Right click and select. And it's the same all the way around. Right click and select. Just going to manipulate this guy here a little bit. Straighten him up. And finally, oh no, second last one. Finally, around the bow here. Again, when you're going around the tighter corners, you'll need to put more points. The larger sweeps require less points. Right click and select. So maybe a little bit of manipulation required there, just to restyle them a little bit more accurately. And that is completed the outline of the Hello Kitty, and this is going to form the main body of the jewellery box. At this stage then, I'm going to extrude boss base this outline to 90mm. Now if it doesn't extrude at this stage, then there is a gap somewhere in joining your splines, so just recheck that. So I'm going to extrude this to 90mm and accept that. This is the full box, the lid and the base together. By doing it this way, it just ensures that they will line up when we hinge them and mate them together. Otherwise, you'll be copying the sketch. So in this case, I'm going to split the box. So to split this box into two halves, I'm going to need a plane. So I'm going to insert a plane, reference geometry, plane. My first reference will be the top plane. And the distance up from the top plane there, in this case, is going to be 60mm. And I'll accept that. I'm going to rename this plane as center plane. I'll be using this plane later on to split the box, but for the moment I'm going to construct the hinge mechanism that will be used for hinging the box apart. So when it splits, the hinge will be on both sides. So I'm going to use this plane because the hinge will be on this plane. Select the plane and I will sketch, and I will go normal too. I want the hinge to attach on here at the back. So what I'm going to do is select these edges here, and I'll use convert entities to convert them on. So select that edge, convert, it's going to convert it onto the plane, convert, convert. And lastly, I need some of this sketch here, and then I will draw my rectangle here for my hinge. Selecting line somewhere about here, a vertical line, horizontal line across to here. Now I'll drop it down. That joins up with my splines there that I've converted. Adding some dimensions, smart dimension. This distance out here will be 30 mil. The width of it will be 75 mil. And the distance, I'm using this corner here as a reference so that I can fully define my sketch, with 55 mil. At this stage then, I'm going to extrude this, but before I do so, I have extra pieces of the splines here which I need to remove. So using the trim tool, I'll power trim off that little piece and that piece in the ear. I will extrude that then to a thickness of 10 mil. Now, if this hinge is to be contained on both the lid and the base, this will have to be extruded mid-plane. 10 mil. So that is my hinge on both sides, except that. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a full round fillet here, rounding off the back edge of that. Fillet. I can see my fillet options are along the top here. So it's this last one, full round fillet. I'll have to select the three surfaces which I wish to round. The middle surface and the bottom surface. So that's giving my rounding for the hinge at the back there. At this stage, I've completed as much as I can with the box, and I need to separate them now. So I'm going to hit save. And now I want to separate them into two pieces. At the minute I just have the one file called box base. I want to get a box top. So I'll go file, save as, and we can see here these new options here, save as copy, and continue. So I can continue on this one, but the bottom one is the one I'm going to select, is save as copy and open. So I'm going to save a copy of that box base as a new name and open it straight away. So I'm going to select this bottom one, and I'm going to change that there, the name to box top. Save. You will now see at the top of the screen here, the name has changed to box top. Going to my folder, the desktop, I now have two parts, box base, box top, which are identical until I do further editing with them.